Hello and welcome back to the Odds Now YouTube channel. It's me, Matt Hill, on hand once again as a one-man band to guide you through tonight's action from the World Grand Prix darts in Leicester. The tournament double-in, double-out format, of course, got underway yesterday, and what a fantastic first evening we had. Plenty of upsets. Most as predicted on here, to be honest. I've got to say, I'm not really one for blowing my trumpet, but we had a good day yesterday, didn't we, to start things off? Seven uh, sort of game outcomes predicted on yesterday's game. I left the Pietrezco game aside because I wasn't sure about his injury and how it may impact things. But of the seven other games where I predicted a winner, six of them ended up being correct. And of the four bets put up, three of them landed, only one losing in the last game. Jean Van Veen won't hold a grudge, but he did let me down for a nice little touch yesterday. But that said, still, what a fantastic day we had. Of course, in the first game, Ryan Joyce to beat Josh Rock at 7-4. We had Brendan Dolan to lose 2-0 against Martin Schindler at 13-8. And we had Rob Cross to upset tournament favourite Luke Littler at 15-8. All landed. And as I say, Jean Van Veen 5-4, the shortest price of the lot, to beat Ross Smith. Ross Smith had concerns over his form coming into the tournament. He duly delivered the best performance of the night and let down a 40-1 fourfold in the process. But as I say, a great day. Really, really pleased with how yesterday went. Can we follow that up today? Well, it'll be a tall order, but we'll see what we could do. 8 more first round matches to come tonight. Just going to whiz through them in quick fire fashion. So without any further ado, onto your screen now. And we'll dive straight in then with Dave Chisnell versus Cameron Menzies. This is a great little game to start the night off. I'm looking forward to this one, I must be said, because they've probably been two of the standout players of 2024, particularly on the floor in Menzies' case. His average has been up in the world's top 10 all year. So this is no flash in the pan in terms of form. But the big question for Menzies now is, can he transfer this form to the big stage? Now, he's not a youngster. He's been around for many years as Menzies, a regular on what is now the WDF, was the BDO. Then it's taken him a little while to find his feet in the PDC. We're finally seeing the quality this man possesses, but I do worry about him a little bit in this format. I must admit, he's prone to a bit of head loss, and he's prone to getting emotionally involved with the crowd and what have you. And just all things considered, could see Cammy blowing up here and struggling a little bit versus Chizzy, who we know his major record's not good, but he's won 2 floor titles this year, 2 Euro Tour titles this year. He's in cracking form himself. And most importantly, he has a lot of experience in this particular sphere. So I'm not going to have a bet on this one, but my prediction for this one will be Dave Chisnell to win 2-0 against Cameron Menzies. So that's my prediction in game 1. Game 2 then, Luke Woodhouse takes on Dimitri Bergh. This is probably one of the less glamorous ties of the first round, it must be said, but still a good opportunity for Luke Woodhouse to follow up on his debut last year where he got a first round win. He'll be confident of getting another one here because Dimitri Bergh not having a good 2024, really. Yes, he won the UK Open, but that was the anomaly. Generally speaking, he's struggled this year, the Belgian. He never really brings his best on the floor, so that's not a big surprise, but he's been disappointing on the European Tour as well. And he's always a dangerous man in majors. He seems to save his best for the big stage, a bit of a showman. But that said, I think there's enough reason to want to take him on here. Woodhouse is the outsider. I couldn't quite get to a bet with this match because Woodhouse himself has had an injury. He's not always the most reliable performer. But if you were asking me who I thought would win this game, I would go with the outsider Woodhouse. So my prediction is for Luke Woodhouse to win this one 2-1. But again, no bet. My bets tonight actually come in the later games. Okay, game 3 then, and this is probably the one I'm looking forward to most watching tonight. Mike De Decker taking on Damon Heta, two players who have fantastic pedigree, particularly on the floor, and maybe yet haven't shown quite how good they can be on the biggest of stages. That's a little bit harsh on Heta, who has won the World Cup, but I think we all believe that on raw ability, this is a man who can win major titles, and he needs to take that next step now. He had a good year of progression last year, getting to plenty of quarterfinals. Now you want to see him getting to semi-finals and finals, and this should suit him really. He's actually the best doubler in the PDC in 2024 in terms of checkout success rate. for it. So that bodes well for a tournament where you have to double in as well as double out. Mike De Decker, meanwhile, well, he's won a floor title as well, just as Heta's won a couple of them this year. He's starting to show what he can do. He's a little bit earlier in his journey than the Aussie, I think it's fair to say, but I do still think he has a very high ceiling. He's 180 hitting in particular. He's glorious to watch, but that, of course, won't be as effective in this tournament as it would be in others. So therefore, I find myself leaning towards Heta. I think it'll be an entertaining watch because they are nervy, these first round games with this short format. De Decker is quite capable of winning this, or certainly bursting out the blocks quickly, and Heta will have to be at it. And I think this will be an intriguing watch. I'm going for Heta to nick it 2-1, but I do think it's a tight game. This is another tight game coming up next as well, isn't it? Peter Wright versus James Wade, two of the sport's enigmas. I thought Wright was gone at the game 2 or 3 months ago, but he seems to have found yet another renaissance as he does so well. Changed his darts and changed his mindset, seemingly bounced back with a stunning European Tour success in Hildesheim across the August and September bank holiday weekend. And I'm just delighted to see Wright still up there fighting. It was an emotional win for him. There was a few tears on the stage, and I think we can safely say that he is back, but adding that consistency is always a challenge. And one man who I have been impressed with the consistency of in the last couple of months has been Wade, who we know he's one of the most efficient players on the circuit, even now, 20 years on, 30 years on from his arrival in the PDC, still there competing at the top end. And I always think with Wade, if he starts getting the 180s going, he's a dangerous man in the scoring phase of his game because he's such a good finisher. Former winner of this, of course. And the format does suit him. His recent record is pretty rotten here, but I really like the form he comes into this game in. And I think it's going to be very tight again. A lot of tight games. That is the theme of tonight. In the first half of the night, anyway, for me, and I'm going with Wade now. Just a caveat there: I have backed James Wade at 100-1 in the outright market, so I was never really going to oppose him. It's not a bet for me; it's just a prediction. But yeah, I would go with Wade to edge this. Obviously, it's a little bit of a pick'em, and whoever goes through, Wright is a narrow favourite in the bet. Wade is a narrow favourite in the betting, but very narrow. Whoever goes through, it's going to be, an interesting watch. The bets for me come in the second half of the night, starting with this one, Gerwyn Price taking on Danny Noppert. Now, Gerwyn Price at 12-1 in the outright market, I couldn't quite get with him. This is a man who is without a major in approaching 3 years now. So it would be a bit of a leap of faith to back him at 12-1. But his record in this event is sensational. In the last 4 years, he's the man who's benefited from the move away from Dublin the most, the COVID-enforced move, first to Coventry, now to Leicester. Definitely the atmosphere is not what it once was at this tournament, but that seems to suit Price just fine with his double top hitting and his, a slightly quieter crowd. It all kind of ticks boxes for him. In the last 4 years, he's been semi-final, runner-up and winner. So an exemplary record in this format. Plenty of reason to think he could go deep again here. He'll play if he beats Noppert, the winner of Wright and Wade in round 2. So not a horrendous tie for him. And fans of Price will be eyeing this up as a chance. And he'll be eyeing this up as a chance to end that major drought. I don't know if he could quite do it in terms of going all the way, but I do think he'll have a bit too much for Noppert tonight. These two met in the first round last year, and Price did a job on him 2-0. I'm expecting the same again here, and I'm actually having a bet on this one. 2-0 Price is 2-1 with Quinbet, and I think that's a fantastic price, really, because if Gezi turns up playing how we expect him to, I do like Noppert, but I think he'll just prove too strong. So that's the way I'm leaning in that one, and that is a bet for me. Michael Smith versus Gary Anderson, that could prove to be the game of the round, the game of the tournament, potentially. It's just a shame it's going to be under such a short format. Two quick players who like to get on with it. They suit each other's game, but there will be nerves involved, as there is with these. As I say, these short format games are lethal, particularly for strong favourites. We saw the likes of Luke Littler going out last night. Anything can really happen in these kind of games. Anderson is the form man of the two, isn't he? What a year he has had. What an 18 months he's had. But as we saw last year, transferring that floor form back onto the big stage is a challenge for Gary. I think this tournament, even though he's never won it, definitely suits him more than Michael Smith. Michael Smith, even though he made the semis last year, he's actually gone out at round 1, 7 of the last 10 years. So I'm not sure he really likes this doubling format all that much. Smith is someone like Littler, as I said yesterday, who can sometimes chase doubles around the board and get frustrated. So all things considered, I lean towards Anderson, but it is a prediction because I think these two are so good. I really hope they bring the best out of each other, but equally, they have both had games in the last few months on the big stage where they've just struggled to find absolute top form. Let's hope they both find top form and put on a show for us. But I'm going to go Anderson 2-1 as my prediction, but no bet in this game for me. I am having a bet in the last two games of the night, though, and starting with Michael van Gerwen against Daryl Gurney. And Van Gerwen, alongside Phil Taylor, of course, who's now retired, is the master of the World Grand Prix, isn't he? 6 titles. He just loves this double in, double out format. He's so versatile and flexible with what starting double he uses. He will go around the board if he needs to, and he does it to devastating effect too. Now, he went out last year to Chris Doby, but even in going out, he lost 3-2. He wired a couple of 9-darters on the bullseye in that game. So he didn't exactly go out with a whimper. He clearly just loves this format. And notably, his double-in percentage has shot up in the last couple of months. So he's coming in with the right elements and aspects of his game in good form. So I think this is a good start for him against Daryl Gurney. Gurney's having a really solid year. He always seems to get to like last 16 quarterfinals of tournaments, but equally he's not managing to kick on now. He hasn't actually won any PDC title since 2019. That's the longest wait for anybody inside the sort of top 20 in the rankings. So all things considered, I think Van Gerwen will do a job. Van Gerwen will do a job on Gurney. I'm going to back the 2-0, which is a best price of 5-4 with the sponsors Boyle Sports. The last game of the night then is Chris Doby against Joe Cullen. And once again, that 2-0 bet appeals to me for Doby, who is the odds-on favourite for this one, partly because of his own form, but partly because of the dreadful form of Joe Cullen as well. I must say, anyone that's watched my outright preview or read it on oddsnow.com will know Chris Doby is my best bet for this tournament. Mainly a price thing at 33-1, but also I just think he ticks a lot of boxes here. Good record at the Grand Prix. He's been a 2-time quarterfinalist, 1-time semi-finalist as well in 4 attempts. So clearly, format poses no problems for him. As I say, beat Van Gerwen last year, which was a real good confidence booster for him. And he's won major titles before, hasn't he? He's won the Masters. Some wouldn't consider it a major, but I think given the quality of the field, I think you have to put it on that level. So that was a great win for him. He's played in the Premier League last year, got all that solid experience. This year, his focus has been back on his floor and Euro Tour game and getting that in good health. He's won 3 floor titles, more than anybody else this year. One of them was last week, so you know he's coming in good nick. He really likes that double 16 to treble 19 transition in this kind of sphere. So there's a lot to like about Doby, and I'm a bit worried about Joe Cullen, to be honest, because he's been playing pretty rank for a couple of months now, and posting mid-80s averages on the floor on a weekly basis. Very worrying. Unless there's a real turnaround in the form of the two players here, you'd have to think that Doby will do a job on Cullen. There's always the chance that the big stage will bring something out of Cullen and he might find something a little bit, but I'm expecting Doby to win this, and I think 11-8, 2-0 is probably a bet. So that's my thoughts on those games. As I say, 3 bets tonight. They're all 2-0 correct scorelines. I'll bring them up on your screen now. So price to beat Nop at 2-0. That's probably my best bet of the night at 2-1. So let's call that the nap. Van Gerwen to beat Daryl Gurney at 2-0 is 5-4 with Boyle Sports. And Chris Doby to beat Joe Cullen is 2-0 is 11-8 generally. Is shortening a little bit, so take that 11-8 if you can. And why not? For the sake of it, I will have a little flutter on the correct score treble. So all 3 of those games to finish 2-0, 14.5-1, available at Quimbet and Bet Goodwin if you can get them. And then I think the next best price is around 13-1, and that's more generally. So whatever you can get on, really. That's a bit of a fun flutter. Price to beat Nop at 2-0 would be the nap at 2-1. Hopefully we can have another good day. But mainly I'm just hoping that my outright selections, Chris Doby and James Wade, can get themselves into the hat for round 2. So let us know what you're backing for tonight's Grand Prix games in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you do like our sports betting previews, well, stick around on Odds Now. Hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.